So I'm going to be doing a little bit of a physical media haul today and also giving a little bit of advice on how you can get started in doing that. So I've noticed online that there is a hashtag trending right now, and I'm not on TikTok, but I've heard through the grapevine that it's big on TikTok. It's called Analog 2026, and a lot of people are wanting to go analog with their media and start coming away from subscriptions and digital downloads and focusing more on having physical media. So first off, I just want to share that thrifting, as you know, this has become a bit of a channel where I talk about thrifting a lot, I've noticed. It's just something I'm, I guess, passionate about. I love to do it. So the other day I went to a local thrift store in my area and purchased a couple CDs. I got very lucky in finding these because I've noticed that a lot of thrift stores, it can be hit or miss with the CD selection, but I actually did really luck out the other day and I scored these two. So we have Muse. So there's a lot of good songs on here. It's an older CD. I wonder when it came out. Not important. I love Muse, so had to get that. And then I also found an Enya, classic Enya, and this is also an older one, but they were each only like $2, plus the store was having a sale, so I think it was only like $1.50 for each. So that was a score, big score. My dad has recently been downsizing his DVD collection, and he has a huge DVD collection. So I've recently got a couple DVDs from him that I will show you. First one on the list, Vincent Price collection, and this one has Tales of Terror, The Raven, and The Pit and the Pendulum. So all classic Poe renditions, and I'm a huge Vincent Price fan, so it's nice to have physical copies of some of your favorites. I also recently got Manhunter, which is a Hannibal Lecter part of the series. I've never seen this one, so it was free, obviously. I was like, yeah, I'll take it. I have Silence of the Lambs, which I think I grabbed right here. Yeah. So it's part of the series, the Silence of the Lambs series. I'm a big fan of Hannibal Lecter. I don't know why. I just think his character is very spooky. My cat is walking on the desk if the camera is shaking, that's why. But I recently was at the library. They were getting rid of some of the Hannibal Lecter series. So one of my goals for this year is to read that series and also watch all the movies. So that's what I'm planning on doing. I haven't seen the TV show, but I'm planning on doing that at some point. Speaking of TV shows, I have a couple shows that I have on DVD as well that I've been watching since a long time. One of them I've been watching since I was a kid. So first up is The Storyteller, and this is Jim Henson. But they're like old fairy tales, so they're kind of spooky, and Jim Henson already does kind of scary puppets sometimes, as you know if you've seen The Dark Crystal or The Labyrinth. So this is kind of in that ballpark, and I've been watching these since I was a kid, so obviously I had to take that from my dad too, because he was getting rid of that in his collection. So yeah, another show that I love, I'm obsessed with, is Daria. And this used to be on MTV when I was a kid. So I think this might have even been out in the 80s and 90s, but I think it was mostly in the 90s. So I have the complete series on DVD. There's a couple things that I've purchased, I think online, just on Amazon or something, because some of these things, it's so hard to like find secondhand. Things like this, and also the show Aeon Flux. I also have the entire series on DVD. And this is another MTV one. These are two that were out when I was a kid on MTV, and I remember seeing snippets when I was a kid and really liking them. So as an adult, I wanted to get back into that, and for a while I tried thrifting them. And some of these things, I mean, if you really want to watch it and you don't want to wait for years and years to find it thrifted, sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and buy it. But I mean, obviously that's a last resort if you can find it at like a Half Price Books or, a store like that. There used to be FYE, For Your Entertainment, at the mall, and that was a place to go and get a lot of good CDs and DVDs that were secondhand. I don't think those stores exist anymore, unfortunately. But those were really good stores to find stuff too. So if those stores are out there, maybe there just isn't any near me. So if they're near you, check it out, because there's a lot of good physical media there, and they were fairly priced. At least they were back in the day. So yeah, that's just a little haul of some of the DVDs that I've been excited about, and shows that I wanted to have physically. So aside from thrifting, obviously you want to try and thrift if you can, but you know, you're not always going to find what you're looking for, or you're going to have to it's going to take patience. You're going to have to be patient and wait it out and keep going back, you know, maybe like once every couple weeks. So it takes a little bit of time to, you know, curate a collection of DVDs and CDs that you like. And something that was really big in the 90s and 2000s, early 2000s, was having that wall of DVDs, you know, like that was a very common thing that you would see. But something that I learned from my uncle actually was that if you don't want to deal with dusting those off all the time and just having everything out on display, you can invest in one of these. And I highly recommend having something like this, because it's just such a space saver, especially if you're renting and you don't have a ton of space. If you're not super attached to having the actual like container, the box that something is in, you know, you could just take it out and take the CD out and keep it in one of those containers. And actually, yeah, most of my DVD collection is in those. I only really keep physical, like the container of the ones that are really precious to me. So some of them, like Manhunter, for example, I'm probably gonna just keep the actual disc and throw out the container. I don't need the container, and I'm not planning on reselling it. Well, we'll see. I'll watch it and see if I like it enough to keep it. So yeah, that's an option you can do. And I also do that with CDs as well. I will keep I'll keep the physical container, like the CD, in its case if I really love the CD and it's something special or it's nostalgic. I'll often do that. But if it's not something super special, I'll just take it out and just keep the disc, get rid of this. I'll keep the little insert actually, but yeah, just a space saver, and then you don't have to like be advertising everything. But I'll show you guys a bit of my collection. So let's see here. Okay, so I can open this up and show you what I've got in here. So we have a couple of CDs, and I'll keep the CD behind if I end up keeping it, the little insert that comes with the CD. But we have some Nine Inch Nails, some Black Keys, Soundtrack, No Doubt, Evanescence, Saving Jane, Scotty McCreery. Oh my gosh. Oh, got some a Burn CD. What is that? Black Eyed Peas. Black Eyed Peas, Aqua. Another soundtrack. Burn CDs. More Burn CDs. J-Lo, Britney Spears, Weezer, Death Cab for Cutie. These don't belong to me. These are an ex's, but at this point, it's been too long. They're mine now. Design of a Decade, Janet Jackson, Aerosmith. Looks like more Aerosmith. Elvis, Christmas, lots of burned CDs. These were huge back in the day, so you know what? Don't be afraid to go out there and burn a CD. It's fun, you know? And then you can, if you have a CD player in your car, have fun with it. God, these are old. Some of this is when I was a kid. Like Lindsay Lohan. Another soundtrack. Prince. Okay, I think we'll stop there for the CDs. Let's see. Get into some movies. So we got some of my favorite movies. We got some Final Destination, Scooby-Doo, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Holiday, Purple Rain. I live in Minnesota, so I'm a big fan of Prince, obviously. Pirates of the Caribbean. Just watched this finally for the first time recently with some neighbors. That was fun. V for Vendetta, 10 out of 10, amazing, best movie. That movie's not good. This is not mine. Some of these are my boyfriend's. Shaun of the Dead, Invader Zim, Fantastic Beasts, Saw, More American Dad, Spirited Away, Westworld. Love the Underworld movies. Love Disturbia. Dark Crystal, James and the Giant Peach, Shining, Army Darkness. Army Darkness is so funny. Matrix, Sleepy Hollow, The Craft. Yeah, lots of good ones. Labyrinth, I have the the movie. I have the soundtrack. I have a tarot deck. Seven, that's great. Moulin Rouge. So yeah, these are some of my favorite movies that I decided to keep. Oh, Interview with the Vampire, 10 out of 10, you already know. Pump Up the Volume is really good. It'll be very angsty. Yeah. So I'm not going to show you all of them, but these are just some of my favorites. And this is just a good example of like what you can do to save space if you want to go physical media route. If you're going to go that route, I highly recommend doing something like this. So yeah, I just wanted to show you some of the things I've gotten recently, some of the things that I've had for a long time and I've kept and held on to all these years because I love them. And yeah, a little bit of advice that I would give to anyone who is going to be participating in the analog 2026 trend thing is, so first of all, you're not gonna like it, but be patient. Be patient. Finding these things secondhand is what I would highly recommend if you want to go the cheaper route and the more sustainable route. But it's also going to take some time. It's going to be frustrating at times when you're looking for very specific pieces of media. For example, I was looking for a collection of Bjork CDs for years. I found them at times, especially at Half Price Books. I was able to find certain CDs, but they were always out of my price range there. I might as well have just purchased them brand new. Like they were, I think, gosh, like close to $20 for a CD. So I finally took the route of online secondhand, which is fine, you know, and I would highly recommend going onto eBay if you're in that situation. That would be my second piece of advice. Like, first of all, just going to the shops. So the first piece of advice is going to the shops and, you know, being patient, waiting it out. It's okay to hit up eBay, you know. You could go to Amazon. I don't recommend that, but like, you know, we all do it occasionally. Jeff Bezos. But anyway, yeah, I highly recommend checking out eBay though, because I have found bundles of certain artists' CDs, and that's a cheap route to go at times. Sometimes it's not, and sometimes you end up with a bundle and you only want like half the CDs in it. But I don't know. I feel like people are pretty reasonable on there, and you can always message the seller and make an offer if you decide that that's the route you want to take, and that, you know, it's okay to barter a little bit, you know, that's the fun of it. So I would recommend checking out that. I was able to get a collection of Bjork CDs finally, and I do have, I believe, all of the CDs that I wanted and all of the songs that I wanted to have physical copies of, because I'm gonna try and steer clear of Spotify. For now, I'm gonna continue paying for Spotify just because I share an account with a couple family members, but I'm thinking down the road at some point, we're probably gonna move away from that. And I'm a big fan of purchasing MP3s and just having an MP3, and then you could always burn your own CDs if that's the route you want to take. But in the meantime, I'll keep using it since I'm sharing it with other people, and eventually, you know, just start moving towards physical media again and playlists and burning CDs. Like it's a fun route to take. Yeah, and I'm sick of paying for subscriptions and, you know, forking out $15 every month when I could just buy a new CD every month of like my favorite artists, you know, and like that would add up, and then I have it forever. So I've been slowly curating and collecting different forms of media, whether that be records or CDs, from my favorite artists, and that's the plan I'm taking. So yeah, I want to start being able to do that and eventually come away from subscription-based music and just have my music again like I used to. So a lot of my CDs I still have from when I was a kid, so I'm thankful for that. But there's still some artists, like Radiohead is my favorite band of all time, and I don't have any of their CDs or records. So that's something, that's an artist, that's a band right there that I've been on the hunt for, CDs, records, at thrift stores every time I go. Every time I go, I try and look in the R section. So looking for Radiohead, looking for Thom Yorke. I might have to just take the eBay route, you know, that's always a good option. So getting a bundle on eBay is a great choice, and you can find a lot of bundles that have other artists in there as well, and it's a good way to discover new music. Basically, that's my haul. I just wanted to come on and talk about that. Oh, and one last piece of advice. If you're someone who doesn't have like a physical CD player, which is pretty common, you know, I think a lot of people are going to start, a lot of companies are going to start making CD players again, and you know, portable ones, because that's kind of, it's coming back, you know. And I would urge you to take caution before buying something that's new, as far as CD players go at least, because I had a newer boombox and it only lasted like 5-6 years. Like, as physical media becomes more popular again, a lot of companies are going to probably try banking on people wanting to buy those players again, and they're going to be made cheaply, poorly, bad quality, you know. So I would recommend, if you go to a thrift store, or if you know somebody in your family or a friend, someone that's getting rid of any of that stuff, I would recommend getting something like vintage. I have a Sony boombox that plays cassettes and CDs and the radio, and I believe you can plug MP3 into it as well. And it belonged to my dad, and he has 2 of them and was getting rid of one. So I took his because my new nice one only lasted like 5 years. Like, it was kind of a hunk of junk, you know. And this one that he was getting rid of, it still is in great condition. Everything works perfectly fine. And he's had it since like the early 2000s, if not the 90s maybe. I should ask him. I want to say the 90s. Like, it's been around for like close to 30 years. It's like an old device, and it's still working in great condition. And yet the newer ones that are put out on the market today, I feel like are just shit quality. So that's another thing I would recommend. Try and get, if you're gonna get something like a player, a CD player, try and go the route of getting something used, as long as it's been tested on eBay. Get something that you know is actually good quality and was made to last, because the newer stuff isn't made to last. It's made so that it shits out on you, you know, within a couple of years. And I'm speaking from experience with that. And I feel like it's only going to get worse because of this trend picking up. People just, you know, companies wanting to make a quick buck. So they're like, oh, let's put out some cheap CD players again. You know, that's coming back. So yeah, just another little tip. I don't recommend getting something new if you can help it. You know, if you can help it. Obviously, if you have to, you know, whatever. If that's what you want to do, if that's the route you want to take, go ahead. Like, don't let me stop you. I just wanted to give you a little warning. And unfortunately, I have a newer Amazon bought record player. I've had it for a few years, but I've been in the market for an old vintage, like a really, like a good one that isn't gonna just shit out on me, because I've had issues with this thing. And I didn't know if it was the record that I was listening to, because I get secondhand records, or if it was the player. But it's, you know, it's not the best, but it gets the job done for now. Yeah, no gatekeeping here. So that's all I know about all that, is that you just gotta be patient. You gotta choose the online route if you need to, but try and just be persistent at the thrift stores. Keep an eye out, go vintage if you can with the players, and good luck to you. I hope it goes well. It's going well for me. Let's put these corporations down. Yeah, we're not gonna pay these subscriptions anymore. Fuck you, Spotify. All right, bye-bye. Another thing I almost forgot to mention was that utilizing your public library, top tier, it's incredible. You can get DVDs, you can get TV shows, movies, music, You can get books, obviously. You can get audiobooks that come either in CD form or like MP3 player form. I've recently noticed that some libraries I go to will have, it's basically like an MP3 player, but with audiobook just downloaded on there. And all you got to do is put a battery in it, put your headphones on. It's basically like having an old MP3 player, but with an audiobook. It's fantastic. And it's free. It's free. But they'll have a little section in the library, usually in like a tucked away corner, and it's a book sale / media sale. So you can go and just buy books or buy CDs and DVDs or audiobooks. They have all of it. And it's usually only, like, the most I've seen is $2. So come on. You don't need to be ashamed about having that little library tag. You know what? One of my favorite comics that I got recently, or graphic novel I got at the library at the book sale. How do you say it? LaGuardia, I believe. This is a great comic, and I want to say it was 50 cents. So I think you should do it. But yeah, I guess I just wanted to get on here and share that haul with you guys, and a couple of little pointers on how to get started if that's something you're going to be doing in 2026. So yeah, happy hunting.